Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Geek-Stew, and today, guys, welcome back to Horror Stew. That is right. Today, guys, I am your host, Ike Isaacs, as always, and I'm going to be telling you guys a ghost story. Now, this one is a ghost story that happened to me specifically. Now, I'll give some details here in a minute, but I wanted to first of all say that I know last time I saw you guys, I told you I had a haircut. I was going to get a haircut, but I ended up not being able to, and I was like, okay, whatever. But I was going to get a passport photo, but I wasn't able to get my passport. But if you want to hear that story, check out this week's episode of Control Over C, the Speedcast. We talked about that as well as some other issues that we found with the government. So we spend our time talking about whatever we want these days. So that being said, now we're going to talk about my ghost story. I'm going to give a brief trigger warning because some of the stories with ghost stories, there are backstories or rumors with the story. And some of the rumors about where we went could potentially be triggering to some people. It includes suicide and violence. So certainly view at your own risk. But guys, here is my personal homegrown ghost story. I'm going to set the stage for you. It's 2011. It's a simpler time. I was around, 14, 15 years old. I was living in a small town in Indiana with my father, my biological father. I saw him every other weekend. So I went and lived at his house. So I had stuff there. And I would be there every other weekend typically. That being said, one specific weekend we were there on a Friday night. I was with some friends hanging out outside. We were playing airsoft as we typically did on Friday nights. We play airsoft in our yards as well as in like the little area streets and stuff. And, we'd have fun, play at night, keep to ourselves, but ultimately having fun. And we were one night playing and somebody decided that they wanted to go visit this old abandoned house because it was theorized that this house was haunted. They said this house was haunted because somebody died inside. A lot of people said that somebody hung themselves, and that was basically like why it was haunted. This person hung themselves, had a horrible, excruciating death, and then boom, haunting the house. Obviously, we have no proof of this. I haven't ever been able to find any information about this in latter years. I've tried to go back and find the house. I'm pretty sure it's demolished now. At least where I think it was in this old town is, I don't think it's there anymore, but I could be wrong. So, it is what it is. I used to have video evidence of what we saw that night, but my father lived in a trailer, and when he moved out of the trailer, me and my brother shared computer that had all of this information on it, pictures, videos, other stuff that we did. We did photos and videos of like airsoft battles. All of that stuff got lost as well. So unfortunately I don't have proof. So believe me if you will, believe me if you don't. Doesn't really matter. It's still a cool story. So back to the story that is. So we decided, there was 4 of us. We're going to go over there and we're going to investigate. I have my dad's little camera that he let me borrow. This thing is real shitty. Horrible video quality, but that's all you can expect out of a 2011 camera that's cost, I don't even know, like what, 50, 60 bucks. Obviously 50, 60 bucks is more back then than it is today, but that's neither here nor there. So we go up to this house. Mind you, we didn't break any laws, okay? We knew the people who own this property. One of the people we were with, their family owned the property, and we did have permission to be there. So mind you that we didn't break any laws. Not to mention, it's an old property, wasn't condemned by the city or anything like that. It was just very old and decrepit. And we went to this house. Door was unlocked. We didn't break and enter. So keep that in mind. I know a lot of people, when I tell this story, that's their first reaction is, oh, you broke into somebody's house? You broke into their house? What? But we knew who owned the place with the property, so we didn't commit any crimes. So just putting that there first and foremost. But we went into this house, and to kind of give you the setup of the house, when you walk in, it's the living room. And it's kind of like an old-timey house because when you walk in, there's a little porch with an awning over it. Honestly, it seems like an old-time saloon in a way. But you walk into this old wooden house, and first thing you see is there's a loft. And this loft is a hanging cord. This cord looks like it used to have a light bulb in it. So it looks like a hanging light fixture. And in this loft, it kind of comes to like a V up there. Basically, to kind of explain what the loft was, it doesn't look like somebody could sleep up there per se, because the edges on this side and on this side were very short. But when it came to the T, the hanging cord was pretty long because it went up to the ceiling. But I would imagine this was probably used for storage, or I'm not sure what. But the rumor was that whomever lived there previously used that hanging cord to hang themselves, which is why the place was haunted. So when you walk into the house, there's a hallway, very short hallway, because there's 2 rooms and then the master bedroom in the back. Very small, very oddly built house. I will also mention that in the living area, there was to the left a tiled area that had a couple of different connections, which I imagine was probably for like a sink and a stove maybe. But when you walk in, to the left was the bathroom, completely gutted out. There was a hole that was going down into that used to go down to sewage, but it was blocked up and everything else. There was like a bathtub, but didn't have a shower head or any knobs, just the molding of the tub. And then into the right, in this room, was like a little small storage room, sort of what you would kind of see like in a stereotypical apartment. It was just a very small room with 1 window, and then it had 3 pieces of furniture in it. It had a mirror in the corner. It was a wooden backed mirror, and the mirror itself was facing the corner. And in one corner was a dresser, and then in the other corner, kind of around the side there, was a wooden rocking chair. Okay, now obviously a wooden rocking chair is pretty much the most stereotypical trope for any horror movie, so take that for what you will. But I don't know why this furniture was there. I don't know who was storing it or what the case was. Now we move back to the master bedroom, and the master bedroom is super dirty. Carpets like ripped up in places. There's trash everywhere. There was also rumors that homeless people would go and squat in there, which is what it is. But nobody was there that night. We checked everything. There's no basement. There's no attic. It's just a first floor building with a little loft in the front. That's it. Okay, very oddly shaped house, but what can you do? It was an old house, not even sure how old, but very old probably. So we were in this back room and we're taking videos, and one of my friends is doing the stereotypical ghost hunter thing. They have their phone audio recorder on, which obviously these are, flip phones or maybe very early smartphones, but we were all pretty poor, so I don't think any of us had any early model smartphones. But at the very minimum, we had flip phones, so people were taking audio recordings, saying, is there any ghosts here, stuff like that. I have my dad's video camera, and I'm just kind of like panning around, and I'm trying to take pictures with my NV2 flip phone, and I'm just like camera, taking pictures, trying to see if I can catch anything, and so on and so forth. So next thing we do is we start kind of trying to like, okay, maybe there's nothing here, maybe it's time to leave. But then we start hearing a tapping, like, and we're thinking, okay, this is an old house. Maybe it's a bird, a squirrel, raccoon, possum, any number of wildlife could have got, in the walls or is inside. So we walk out back to the main area, into the living area, and we're like, okay, what's going on? And we look up, and that cord that's in the ceiling is swinging, hitting the wall, which is hearing that. And we're thinking, okay, how did that happen? And we're like, and we kind of had to brush it off. We're like, maybe there's a draft, right? It's an old house. It's not sealed up properly. The door's not even really on the hinges, so there's gaps in the door frame. So it's probably just wind, whatever. So then we're walking around, we're taking pictures of it, taking video, because we're like, some of us are like, yeah, it might be real, maybe not. But then we hear kind of like a creaking. Now, mind you, the floors are completely carpeted, all right? The carpet's very old, very gray and gross, but still carpeted. And the floor doesn't really squeak that much. Some places in the hallway it does, but we weren't in the hallway. So we started hearing kind of a creaking, kind of squeaking noise, and we started walking down the hallway, and we walk into the spare room, and the rocking chair is moving. Now, I have it on film where you walk in and you can see the rocking chair is moving very slightly. Something we also didn't notice, and nobody ever fessed up to it, but on the camera, when you walk into the room, the mirror is facing the other way. So the mirror was facing the corner, glass facing the wall, but when we went back in there, it was facing the other way. So you could see us walking in the mirror. And in the corner is the rocking chair. So nobody ever fessed up to changing the mirror. I don't know, maybe somebody did, and they didn't want to say anything because it was spooky. But nobody ever fessed up to it once we were reviewing the footage, so we don't know if that's real or not, so take that for what you will. But the rocking chair was definitely moving. You could see it on the film. Everybody heard it, and we're like, okay, this is weird, so we're going to leave. So we're making our way back out, and we're about to leave. I'm talking to the guy standing next to me. I'm still recording, and the two people in front of me are talking to themselves, and all of a sudden we hear somebody say somebody's name. We thought we heard a disembodied voice say the word John. Now, we're thinking, okay, we're probably hearing things. We're psyching ourselves out. Let's just go. So we get home, and we're on my computer, and we're kind of putting the stuff into we're trying to download the videos onto my computer, trying to get some proof, trying to zoom back and forth, scan the video, listen for audio cues. And eventually we get to the part where we thought we heard somebody say John, and we actually caught a disembodied voice saying John. Now, obviously, this was 2011. I don't have proof of this anymore, but it is what it is. It was incredibly scary. One of the scariest things that I've ever experienced. I didn't really believe in the paranormal to begin with, but experiencing this definitely made me more open and susceptible to it. And, in subsequent years, I've come to very much agree that, there probably is something paranormal out there. But that basically, guys, is my homegrown ghost story about how I went to an abandoned house and caught some very interesting things that I can't explain. So take it for what you will. Let me know what you know. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you believe in ghosts? Do you believe in the story? What do you think? So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I've never really shared this story before, except for with some friends over the years, and my wife, of course. And, we've talked about different ghost stories and everything else. So, ghost stories are always very interesting because different people have different experiences and perspectives. And I would love to kind of meet up with some of those folks that I, knew from so long ago to see if they had similar experiences or what they thought. It's kind of an interesting concept, I suppose. But hope you guys did enjoy this video. Give us a like and subscribe. And as always, folks, follow us on social media. That's in the description down below and at the end of the video. And as always, hope you guys are staying safe, stay happy, stay healthy. Don't go exploring any abandoned buildings. And if you do, be very careful. Stay safe, folks. Have fun. And we will see you in the next one. See ya.